Hey guys, this video might be a bit different from my usual videos, but I low-key always think that with every video that I make, so I'm just get into it. This is not for the faint of heart, okay? This is really not for the faint of heart, because I feel like my reality has been shattered, and in some ways by things that actually happened to me, and in some ways through things that I found out about or like thought about and realized like, wait, shit, things are actually not the way I thought they were. And I just want to talk about this. So, first of all, I'm getting a kitten, I'm getting a cat, and I was getting into neutering because I really want to make sure that my cat is safe. We've all seen those fucking short videos when it's like, oh my god, the cats at the vet and they're meowing and like screaming, and that's just super disturbing to me because seeing any sort of little vulnerable creature in emotional distress just makes me fucking angry. And that's also something that came up and I want to talk about it later because it ties in with the whole thing. But while I was researching how neutering works, I thought about a pretty old fear of mine. It's not necessarily a fear that I'm afraid is gonna happen to me. I mean, of course, I don't want it to happen to me, but it's not like I'm panicking, oh my god, this will happen to me. Like, I don't think about it like that, but it's something that's very disturbing to me. And massive trigger warning if you don't like any sort of like gory, weird, horroristic thing. This is not for the faint of heart. Okay, now if you've clicked off the video, wait, no, if you didn't click off the video, that fear of mine is anesthesia awareness, which is that there is a possibility that you will gain consciousness during the operation, the surgery. And there is also a possibility that you will feel every fucking thing, and there's also a possibility that you will not be able to move or speak or communicate, that there is something wrong with you, and because of the anesthetic, your heart rate will be slowed down, so there will be no way of the doctor seeing that you're conscious. And you will go through the whole surgery feeling every single fucking incision or every single thing the doctors does. You're gonna you feel it. These are the three main things that are all very rare. Like, there's the type anesthesia awareness where someone wakes up but they can move and they can tell the doctor like, hey, I woke up, and then the doctor puts them back to sleep. There's a type anesthesia awareness where they wake up but they don't feel pain, so it's like totally fine, but it's still scary. But it's like they feel like a slight pressure sensation. I've had that when I got my teeth removed because my baby teeth wouldn't fall out, these two. I got them removed, and it was like I got painkillers. I got these lidocaine spray and injection, and they removed my teeth, and like all I felt was like a pressure sensation, but it wasn't pain. And like that's what they say is a lot of people feel when they experience anesthesia awareness, but there's a very small chance that you will be stuck in your paralyzed body feeling every single fucking thing that the doctor does. And you can't move and you can't speak, and you're just stuck there while they're torturing you. And some people have gone through this, and it's apparently not that uncommon. Like, I've seen a lot of YouTube comments under certain videos about this, people talking about their experience with this thing, and it seemed sincere as fuck. Like, it didn't seem like people are crying for help. But even if it's real, even if it's fake, to me, this really made me think about like how tangible is reality, or like not reality as an existence, but like how tangible is the world that we're perceiving and living in, and like this story that we tell ourselves, like, if you play life safe, if you be good, you'll go to heaven. If you be a good person and keep sacrificing yourself for other people, there is a reward for that. and like good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. Or like this belief I used to have, which is whenever I would see something bad happen to someone, I get so angry. I become like so enraged because I had this belief that the cause of all bad things and the cause of all suffering is evil. And there is a way to avoid and prevent all suffering through the eradication of evil. Like getting rid of all evil will result in no pain and no suffering and like heaven on earth. And like the cause of all bad things is evil. But especially this anesthesia awareness thing is typically something that is just a fucking accident. It's not like human trafficking or pedophilia or all these terrible things that exist in the world. It's like it's done by another person being evil. There is someone that is getting off to feeling superior. That's evil in my opinion. There is someone being evil and that's why the other person is suffering. So it's like there is good and evil in a way. But this is just a fucking accident. And this is what made me realize, like, for example, the war in our country, like not our country, I'm Hungarian, but very close to us in Ukraine. And of course, I'm aware about the Gaza situation. I'm also aware of that. Just saying, I'm aware of the other wars too. I'm aware of the other bad things. But to me, the most relevant thing right now is Ukraine, because there are hella Ukrainian refugees in Hungary right now. So we're hearing a lot about their stories, even in person. Like, for example, one of my best friends had some refugees living at their house, and it's just crazy how you are living in this reality that if you do everything right, if you play life safe, you are gonna be safe. And that, like, it's almost like safety is an illusion at this point. Because if accidents like anesthesia awareness can happen, if the worst can happen, if, like, you could get some deadly disease at any point, just like fully randomly, no matter how good of a person you've been, it makes you think about what you're doing with your life. It made me think about what I'm doing with my life. Because if this world is really as cruel as it is, and I'm not saying the whole world is cruel, but the world is also cruel. It's like, what are you doing with your life? Like, are you waiting for your reward for being a good person? Are you waiting for luck? Are you waiting for God to save you or the universe to be good to you and your manifestations to finally come while all you do is sit and wait for them? It's making me think, like is it worth the wait? Why don't we just do whatever the fuck we want? Why don't we just enjoy life? Why don't we just do what we love if it could all be ripped away from us in an instant? And like, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm not saying this, but heaven and hell exist on earth. And like, of course, hell also does. I'm just saying the world is also cruel. I'm not saying the world is cruel, but the world is also cruel. And just knowing that your life is not as stable as you think. It just makes you think, like, what to take for granted and what not to take for granted, because we take this life for granted. But really, like, if we go back a few hundred years, people were burning each other alive and getting all kinds of crazy diseases. And like, you know, I'm not saying the world was more cruel than it is now. There are definitely really bad things that didn't exist before. But I'm just saying, I'm saying like we take this life for granted. We take comfort for granted, and we think if we're a good person, good things are going to happen to us. But the scary thing about it is like, you don't know. And we can be like, oh, is the universe trying to show that person something? Is the universe trying to show that mother who's getting their child murdered in a war, or like they're losing their child due to a disease? You can say like, oh, it's the universe trying to show them something, or like, or like their soul signed up for it. Yeah, in a way, I believe our soul signs up for this life, but in a way, it's like, but you don't know what your soul signed up for. You can't be like, oh, that person that's getting cancer over there, that's because their soul signed up for it. And the reason I'm not is that my soul didn't. You don't know. You think the person that's going in for the operation, to go in for surgery, they're like, oh yeah, my soul signed up for this, so I'm well prepared for this torturous situation that's about to happen. No, it happens out of the fucking blue. And, you know, you don't remember what your soul signed up for. All you can do is not take this moment for granted. And I'm not saying you should live in fear. That's exactly the opposite. That's like living in fear, hoping that one day you'll be rewarded for that, for taking the safe path, for living life safe. There are so many stories of people that have always done everything right, and all of it just got taken away from them. And also, there is death. We're all gonna die. And even if existence is eternal, even if we're eternal spiritual beings, it's like time is infinite. Even if we don't die, a billion years are going to pass. And are you gonna remember this? No. Are you even going to be in human form? You might be an entirely different creature by that point that you cannot even comprehend with this brain and this soul. It's like reality is a hell lot weirder than we think. And it's just making me think also, like, before I learned about anesthesia awareness, I didn't know that such horrors could exist just by accident. I always thought that everything bad happens because of evil. But it's like, if that can just happen, what are other things that could happen? There could be horrors beyond your imagining that exist in this world, and you're working a job that you hate, waiting for someone to save you, and being a good person because you think that that's gonna get you anywhere. I'm not saying being a good person is not important, but don't sacrifice your own needs and don't sacrifice your own happiness because you think you will be rewarded. Because you don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. In that way, something fucking amazing could happen. You could win the lottery tomorrow, but the same thing, it's like, and then what? And then what? Life is still life. Life is unpredictable. And if life is that unpredictable, why are you clinging on to safety and comfort that much if it's all an illusion? If you cannot predict the future, if you cannot act in a way that's going to ensure that the future will go a certain way, if control is a fucking illusion, then why are you trying? Why are you trying to control the way people see you if they could just decide to hate you and they're just gonna hate you either way? Why are you trying to control how things are gonna go so bad if even if you try, you can't? So like that's made me think about living in the moment and really just doing what I love as a person and not trying to play life safe. And of course that doesn't mean I'm gonna do stupid things. Like, oh, you only live once, but don't make your life shorter. I'm not saying you should do things that are potentially gonna kill you. I'm not saying to do it intentionally, like, oh hell yeah, I might die. I'm not saying you should do that, but you should be aware that you might die, like, even if you don't do it. So if you really want to do something, don't not do it because you're afraid about it impacting your future. But I'm talking about things that are actually good for you. For example, if you want to pursue your passion, if you want to do a hobby, if you just want to do what you love, even though people would think you're stupid, or even though it's like, oh, why spend money on this because who's gonna know when I'm gonna need the money that I might be spending on this? I'm not saying spend all your money, but like live a little. You're gonna die, and even if you don't die, it's like you never know what's gonna happen. You never know what life is gonna throw at you. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to liberate you, to stop trying to control how things go, because you can't. And you think you can control what's gonna happen to you by being a good person, because good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell. That's not entirely true. So I'm just saying, what you can control, what you can do, is how you react to the things that happen to you. And you can make the things that happen to you happen for you. But you can also not do that. That's why I don't like to say everything happens for you. No, not everything is a good thing, but you can make everything a good thing. You can make everything happen for you if you choose to react it in a way that benefits you. So that's where I'm trying to get with this, is to not prepare in a way that you try to keep bad things out, but prepare that bad things are gonna happen internally. So you can be more grateful for when good things happen, and when life is going your way, be like, wow, this is actually very great and beautiful. And like, don't chase feeling good all the time and being comfortable all the time, because even if you chase it, it's not gonna happen. And even if it does happen, is it really that what you want? Do you really want a life that's easy? And I don't mean easy mentally, I mean easy just like, do you really want a life that's entirely comfortable? Because if you avoid all discomfort, you don't leave the house. If you avoid all discomfort, you don't talk to anyone. If you avoid all discomfort, you don't express who you are as a person. You're not going to be seen, you're not going to be loved, because you're not even showing yourself, you're not allowing people to love you. If you don't risk people hating you, you're never gonna get love. But at the same time, what do you really have to lose from people hating you? What do you really have to lose through going through pain? What do you really have to lose when it comes to experiencing discomfort? Because in a way, of course, it can be absolutely traumatizing. You know, trauma itself is very real. It exists. Terrible things exist, and you know, it does hurt you. You know, we get hurt in this life. I'm not saying that's all that happens, but it also happens. We also get hurt in this life. But where I'm trying to get with this is, what do you really have to lose by getting hurt? When you look at getting hurt as a consequence of you choosing to be authentic, for example, people like calling you crazy for working out and looking after what you eat, and like trying to bully you for it and be like, oh, what's this dieting bullshit, oh my god, why you working out like that, you crazy? You can look at that and be like, that's a side effect of me doing what I love. That's a side effect of me taking care of my health. Or if you do what you love and you actually just do what you fucking love. For example, with me, YouTube, I can look at the hate comments as a consequence for me doing what I love. So in a way, what do you really have to lose if you do what you love? What do you really have to lose if you're being true to who you are? What do you really have to lose in this life? Period. What do you really have to lose? Because the things that you have are not as tangible and comfortable as you might make it out to be in order to cling to it. For example, this life that I have right now, it's like I can avoid human contact and be like, I'm gonna stay in my little house where nothing bad happens. But something bad still might happen. So, but even if nothing bad happens, but yeah, it's like something bad might happen, so why not just say fuck it and do whatever the fuck you want? And the same thing with comfort. It's like, what if it is comfortable? Is that what's really gonna make you happy? Is experiencing no pain really going to make you happy? Is that really what you want? It's not even about happiness, because happiness isn't tangible either, but it's like, is really no discomfort what you want? Is that life really what you want? So it's like, I don't know. It's only you who can answer that question. But I know for myself that I like challenge. I feel suffocated by my own comfort zone if I stay in it for too long. Because I feel like as human beings, we were made to experience. And I've heard these things that childhood, a lot of people like to think childhood is so magical because you're present. But really, no, childhood is magical because you experience so many things for the first time. You experience so many new things. But when we're adults, we're very prone to getting stuck in the same rhythm and not reaching out for new things because what we've always known is comfortable and new things come with the risk. But see, a child gets hurt all the time. They fell on their head all the time. They cry all the time and they express it. They be given no fucks about, oh my god, this is so weird right now that I'm gonna cry. Okay, that's not true because me as a kid, I was so obsessed with people not seeing me as weak. I'd be like, if I fell in front of people, they try to help me, I would like bark at them. I'd be like, how dare you? How dare you assume that I can't handle this all by myself? So I'm just saying, some kids are weird. I was a weird kid. But still, children don't give as many fucks as we do. And that's why they're so open to new experiences. Because gaining new experience is an essential need for the mind. It's needed for mental health. So if you surround yourself with the same shit, just like and live the same fucking day every single day in hopes that your reward is safety. First of all, that safety is an illusion. But even if you are safe, is safety really what you want? Because I believe everything is possible in this world. Just like how all the terrible things are possible, all the amazing things are possible. Like, just as bad as it can get, I think it can get just as good. But at the same time, you can create whatever you want. So even if you do create endless safety and endless comfort and stay away from all discomfort and perceive it as darkness and like be like, oh, I'm like so spiritual, like this is the light. I'm only living in the light and I'm keeping all the darkness out. Just saying, like darkness is fear. But okay, I don't want to get into the philosophical shit, but even if that's what you want, you can create it. You can do it. But really the question you should be asking yourself is, what do you really want? Because I know for myself, I don't want to keep all darkness out, which is not actually darkness. See, this is why I'm doing all the quotes all the time. Because philosophically, I believe that darkness is fear and light is truth. And like, okay, darkness is lies. Darkness is not even fear. Darkness is the bullshit and light is the truth. And the truth is what shines light on the darkness, which is what changes the darkness into light. Like you can change the way you look at things. This is what I'm trying to say with this, is that, for example, if you have something you hate about yourself, through understanding it and giving it compassion and seeing its purpose and seeing that it's only trying to protect you and meet an emotional need that you are not meeting, it's trying to show you where you're lacking in certain areas of your own self-care. And I'm not saying like face mask, I'm saying like emotional self-care when it comes to standing up for yourself or actually showing a love to yourself, not just loving yourself. Love is actions, okay? In my world, love is actions. There's unconditional love and there's a philosophy about it that I believe. I believe that everyone loves everyone. And what we experience as hate is actually not hate. Like, it's actually not hate towards a person. It's hate towards the part of us that they are representing to us. So everything you see represents something to you subconsciously, and what another person's behavior represents to us, it's what we are triggered by, because it shows us a certain reality that we don't want to face. So actually hate is just the avoidance of discomfort. Hate is just avoiding the discomfort of facing what somebody is trying to show us about ourselves. So it's like staying away from shame and not wanting to feel these certain emotions. Actually, hate is like this sort of coping mechanism. But there is unconditional love. It just is. Like, you already love yourself. You're just scared of it. Like, you're terrified of it because you're attached to the identity that insecurity provides to you. So back to the light and dark shit. It's like, by showing a certain part of you love that you would see as dark, and even if it is dark, like, there is a part of you, let's say there's a part of you that wants to kill people. If you actually try to understand that part of you and see the purpose that it serves, and you actually change your behavior in your everyday life, and like answer the cry for help that that part of you is trying to do by bringing up all these urges to like be a killer. Okay, this is really extreme, but see, through that, through understanding that part of you, it's like you turn it into light. You make it go away. You make the darkness go away. You make the thing go away that could be considered toxic because you actually understand that it's a cry for help. But to fear it is the dark act. People pleasing, for example, is a dark act because you are deceiving people. You are not showing them the truth because you're afraid of it. The darkness is really the fear and the response to the fear that is like living in falsehood and like not facing the fear, because the fear itself might not be dark. It might be actually a good thing. I've heard this quote yesterday. It's like, the parts of you that you hate about yourself might be the fucking best parts of you. So, see, that's my philosophy about avoiding pain and avoiding fears, is that I would never be where I am today if it wasn't for fighting my fears. Literally. Every single good thing that ever happened to me, okay, that's not true, but most of the best things that happened to me because I was brave. And you can make whatever you want of that, but this just shows me why I don't want to live a life of complete comfort. Because complete comfort is the darkness. It's the fear. You're living in fear if you stay away from the bad. Like, the bad is not really the bad. It's that you're staying away from it. So, like, I don't know. I'm just rambling. I'm just showing what I think about on a day-to-day basis. Really, I think everything is neutral. Everything's inherently neutral. And the universe doesn't think about good and bad. I think the universe thinks about laws, and like the universe is laws. There are certain things that are, and there are certain things that aren't. For example, gravity. Gravity is. I know that gravity is. If I drop an apple, it's gonna fall down. That is. And like, if I hold an apple on the surface of a planet that is big and dense, because density and space is what I think what creates gravity. Not exactly, of course. So it's like, if I drop this apple and it stays up in the air, that isn't. Gravity is. Whatever that thing is that is not gravity, that isn't. That's how I think about life. Certain things are and certain things are not. And this is really what makes me think that like the best way to live is to just face the truth, because you can't change it. Even if you avoid it, it's gonna come up in certain ways. Just like I've said that comfort is kind of an illusion. Like, there's always gonna be discomfort. Control is an illusion. Even if you try to play it safe, terrible things could happen. It's like that's an illusion. Like, that doesn't exist. But it's like, even if it did exist, because this world is kind of infinite also in a way, if it did exist, would it really be what you wanted? So yeah, I think acceptance is key. Acceptance of the truth is key, in my opinion. Just accepting the truth. And the fact that this world is also cruel is true. You can't deny it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it in my life, and I've heard about stories of such incomprehensible hell that I can't even begin to understand. Like some people's childhoods are insane. Like, I don't think you understand the type of childhood abuse that exists in this world. Like, you can say that's evil. That's not an accident. That's the type of bad in the world that exists because of evil. But honestly, I don't know. There have been some accidents that have created hell in other people's lives. But see, this is the thing, to look at hell, and look at it as just something that is, and not see it as hell, not see it as negative, but see it as something that is, instead of just labeling it as bad and trying to run away from it and telling yourself that it doesn't exist. That's like a better place to be, in my opinion, than constantly clinging on to heaven and like things being good. So that's just what I've been thinking about. I think it's a way more peaceful existence to not run from the truth. And also a last little thing that I find kind of comforting, though, because human beings are kind of creatures of comfort at the end of the day, and so am I. What I do find kind of comforting is that just the way the brain gets desensitized because of pleasure, it gets desensitized to pain too. So pain tolerance can really be raised in that way. So it's like when something is so excruciatingly painful, if it goes on for long enough, you get used to it. And the same goes for good shit. If something is so orgasmic and fucking awesome, if you'd experience no contrast, it becomes your new normal. But that's also true for the bad. So I think things are never as bad as we imagine them to be. But hell does exist. But heaven also exists. And it's neutral. So that's my world. That's the way I go about things. That's how I've been thinking. And I want to apply this new sort of inner peace into my everyday life of not trying to control things and letting go of the illusion of control. Because even if control's not an illusion, even if you can control it, I don't think it's really what I want in my life. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this little talk, this little rambling. I'm going to make a video that's going to be deep as fuck. I've been planning it. I'm going to get a bit vulnerable about certain things that I've gone through, and I think it's gonna help a lot of people feel seen and heard and accepted. But I don't want to tease it too much. I'm just gonna say, like, that's in the air. And it's gonna come through, and I'm willing to be the vessel for it, but I really want to do justice for the topic, and I really want to do justice for the purpose that I'm doing this for, which is to help people feel loved. Because they are loved, we are loved, you are loved. Even the worst parts of you are just loved. There is somebody out there that's imagining exactly you, or the worst parts of you, and they think, damn, that's kind of cool. Like, you are loved, even if it's not showing up in your everyday life. Unconditional love is just truth. People don't face it because then they would have to face the darkness of others and the darkness within themselves. There's not really darkness. It's just certain ways of your body and your mind and your soul and your needs trying to cry for help. Toxicity is not really evil. So you could be like, does evil exist? Does good exist? I don't know. Leo Skepi did a really good video on that. I watched it. So if you're interested in what I'm talking about right now, I recommend you check that out too. because he talks about he talks about kind of what I talk about, but I'm talking about it from my own experience, and he's talking about it from his experience. Because but yeah, just end the video. I don't know how to end things. Even voice messages, I'm like, I just keep talking and talking and talking. The water's done. And the video's also done. How beautiful. Subscribe. And I'll see you again soon.